and Tangela too. And our host, Vincent Van Dahl. And he brings it to ya! Creature features, and all creatures, and all creatures. And the creature gonna get you tonight. You better not turn out your bedroom light. He'll grab your head and give it such a bite. You may even die, just from a fright. You ain't nothing gonna be, baby. You ain't nothing gonna be alright. 'Cause the creature gonna get you, baby. Gonna get you tonight.
Good evening and welcome to Creature Features. I'm your host Vincent. Flanking me to this side would be my English-trained butler and eminently exalted Epicurean of the manners mess room, the illustrious Mr. Livingston. And over here we have the terminally intangible yet truly tantalizing troublemaker of our household, the teeny tiny itty bitty Tangela. And have we an incredibly amazing show for you tonight?
The guest could be interesting, however, the film? Not so much.
You haven't even seen the film.
There is no need. The title is ludicrous.
Never judge a book by its cover, Mr. Livingston. And certainly never critique a film merely on its title. For tonight we shall present for your viewing pleasure for the first time on Creature Features, War of the Satellites. This is quite an unusual film, as it contains very little war and very few satellites, but it does offer much chin-wagging and an interesting scene where the protagonist burns his hand with a blowtorch, which is a circumstance which I think we've never once shown on Creature Features. I don't think so, love. While a scene where a man has his cranium squeezed in a vice does parlay something of a tool motif you might associate with welding, it did lack the noble gases and resultant flames needed for a proper coincidence. Onward. Directed in 1958 by Roger Corman, the film stars a very young Dick Miller pitted against the clever Richard Devon. Don't remember these names? You'll certainly remember their faces. You'll also recognize the person portraying Jason as Michael Fox. No, not the one that drove the DeLorean Back to the Future, but the one that made 169 appearances on The Bold and the Beautiful.
I liked that program.
You also like Kasumatsu. And joining us for this cheesy movie will be our old friend, The Undertaker. No, not Mark Calloway, the professional wrestler, but our own local Undertaker who appears shortly before Halloween each year in the nearby city of Vallejo. He'll tell us all about his favorite graveyards, inform us about his big plans for a haunted event this year, and he might even swap grave robbing stories with our little miss here, who has her own penchant for opening the tombs of the recently deceased. So don't go away, for it is to be another night of grave digging satellite fright, right here on Creature Features.
Actually, I prefer Milben Kaiser.
Yuck. Stay tuned.
Portions of Creature Features are brought to you by the Winchester Mystery House in San Jose, California. Explore the mystery at winchestermysteryhouse.com.
We need to come up with an Undertaker song.
Oh,
No, it would be like a Disney song, but it would be like grim.
will there be some type of animal performing during it? Like a night creature?
That would help.
That would help.
That would help. Welcome to Creature Features. We are back. We are with the Undertaker. You know, he's kind of grim and spooky, but he's friendly and nice at the same time. And we've got the Undertaker with us tonight. How are you, sir?
I'm doing exceedingly well for a dead person.
It's been how long?
It's been a minute, a year and a half, perhaps.
1.5 years. Typically we wait 2 years on some guests, so you lucked out.
I
Or
jumped ahead.
we lucked out.
I jumped ahead in line. Yes.
No, it's good. So the hearse is operating correctly,
Yes,
and all
sir.
is well. Good. Has business been brisk?
As much as you can expect for the line of work I'm in.
Oh, nice. Well, I suppose it's one of those businesses where you get more customers every year due
Right.
to increases in population.
That is true, and we rarely have repeat business.
No, I imagine that's not a common thing in your line of work, right? So it's not like you have to keep a client database,
That's true.
a
That's true.
database. Maybe. I don't know. Anyways, we're going to watch War of the Satellites 1958. You've seen this film.
I have seen it.
I know,
yes.
because we chatted and you said you've seen it. I have not. I've seen the beginning and the end and 7 seconds in the middle. No, that's my legal requirement on this show.
Oh.
Is to watch that prior to airing. I need to watch the beginning, the end, and 7 seconds of the center. So, I could tell you everything about the 7 seconds, but I cannot tell you much about the 7 seconds after that 7 seconds, nor the 7 seconds prior to the 7 seconds.
Oddly enough, I remember only about 7 seconds of the movie.
So that is an omen. That is a dark omen from The Undertaker that this film is below par, shall we say?
Well, it's a Roger Corman movie, so I always look forward to those.
He probably made it in 15 minutes, did he not?
I wouldn't be surprised.
No, that's what he did. He was the man of speed. All right, so we're going to get started with the film. And when we come back, you're going to tell us what you've been up to, right?
Certainly.
All right, off we go. War of the Satellites, 1958. Don't go away because something fun's going to happen tonight.
How much longer?
Very soon now.
Why do we watch? Patience, Mr. Lemoyne. We must give the good doctor the benefit of every doubt. And you must admit that we have done that up to now.
Yes, Mr. Narcott. I must admit that.
Let me see now. This is 9 times $500 million, and this will make 10.
It's still in its orbit, Mr. Arcot.
For the moment. Miss Carrington, what is your opinion?
I correlate observed data, Mr. Arcot. I make no predictions.
Well, I make a prediction. All those men in that satellite will die, as have all the others. And when they do, your project comes to an end, Doctor.
Satellite is approaching the critical area. There it is, the barrier. It's forming again. Get through it. Get through it.
I am truly sorry, Dr. Van Ponder. What is it that destroys every manned satellite we launch?
I don't know. I just don't know.
And yet you propose to follow this 10th failure with another attempt, using more of your volunteers?
No matter how many times we fail, Mr. Akkad, we'll continue until we succeed.
Human beings are not guinea pigs. I warn you, Doctor. I shall fight you on the floor of the council all the way. We've seen enough.
Are you still cold, baby?
Yeah, but I'm getting warmer every second. Ring-a-ding-ding-ding.
Hey, listen, doll. They're playing our song.
Yeah, I don't dig the arrangement.
Yeah, I see what you mean. Too many violins. Change the station. Maybe we can get somebody else's disc.
All right. Don't move. I'll be right back.
A shooting star?
Oh, darling, you're so romantic. Make a wish.
Oh, that's no shooting star. Can't be Sputnik. It's not listed in the TV guide. Oh, wow. Something is flipping around here.
Yes, and it's my top. Oh, Jay, I really am scared. Did you hear something?
Yeah, my elastic just snapped.
No, besides that idiot. Go see what it is. Well, go ahead. Well, you're not scared, are you?
Hey, Mitch, come get a load of this.
All right. But I hope you know what you're doing. You know, you flunked chemistry twice.
What do I do now?
I don't know, but make it snappy. We're double parked.
Well, don't just stand there. Who's the three-letter man around here? Asnacianum unitum planetae.
To the United Nations of the third planet of minor luminary Sol, called by the inhabitants thereof the Earth. Attention! We, the masters of the spiral nebula Ghana, have been observing your actions. Understand, Earthlings, that we look with disfavor upon your persistent efforts to depart from your own planet and infest other areas of the universe. We have therefore set up quarantine measures to ensure that this contamination shall not be allowed to spread. We shall frustrate your every attempt in the future as we have those in the past. Knowing that Earthlings are equipped with rudimentary reflex-type intelligence, we are taking this means of conveying our command that all such efforts to expand and depart from the infected planet Earth shall from this moment be stopped.
Mr. President. Mr. President. Mr. President.
Mr. President,
The chair recognizes the honorable member from the United States.
Mr. President, honorable delegates to the General Assembly, I speak for all men everywhere when I say that this alien intelligence is wrong. That man cannot be dismissed as a disease or as a growth that infects our planet. Our hopes, our aspirations lead us to the stars. And no other race has the right to judge us or to deny us that journey.
Portions of this program are brought to you by Micromat, making products that keep your Macintosh running at its best.
Welcome back. Still watching War of the Satellites with The Undertaker. You know, I think this film could use an Undertaker as a cast member.
From what I've seen, it can use an Undertaker at least twice in the movie.
No, it's this whole quarantining the entire Earth. Who does that?
It sounds like a Star Trek theme. Maybe Star Trek got it from this film.
Like a bad episode. Yeah, one that Gene Roddenberry had nothing to do with.
Correct.
Or maybe one that he had everything to do with. You know, he was not the best writer, Roddenberry.
I think he was trying to be a Rod Serling type writer, an idealist, but he didn't have the chops.
Best description I've heard.
And I'm a Star Trek fan.
No, I like Star Trek as well. Although, you know, Shatner, I'm glad they replaced him with Jean-Luc Picard.
Oh, that's fighting. Those are fighting words to me.
No, you know, Jean-Luc Picard has a nice accent.
True.
And he has a nice hairdo. Because, you know, I just recently watched Star Trek 2
yes.
and Star Trek 3, right? And these are two films that happen consecutively, right? I mean, literally, one ends and the next one begins,
Correct.
right? Kirk's hair, Shatner's hair changes drastically.
It does.
I cannot enjoy the second movie because I know the differences in his hair. The whole time I'm pointing at his hair, laughing.
Lisa doesn't bore his foes to death like a certain captain on the second series.
Ooh. No, well, you know, if the Picard maneuver was patented, then I think more people would do it.
Maybe that distracts his adversaries from his next move. At least it's not a roundhouse punch like Kirk.
Oh, no, those were nice. Yeah, he did add some action to the film. Anyways, enough about Star Trek. Let's talk about you and what you do, because, you know, the few viewers, like we have 3 viewers out there who probably saw your last appearance on our show, and we have like another 40 now who have no idea what you do. Tell us.
Well, to paraphrase a song, I've been undead forever. I buried the very first corpse. I put the bodies in the coffins together. I'm the Undertaker, and I dig the holes.
Now, typically, does an Undertaker dig the holes? Isn't there like a separate set of
Well,
underlings that do the
There
digging?
usually is a caretaker that would do that, but I work in a very small budget, and I don't charge
That's
much.
a grave digger. You're not
That
a
is
grave
correct.
digger. You're an Undertaker. You do the business side.
Right, but sometimes I have to dig the holes because I work very cheaply and I charge people very little.
And I imagine sometimes there's like a labor union strike as well.
Oh, we don't say union in my business. We don't say it out loud.
Oh, no. Well, I imagine that could create quite an issue with, you know, like during like a plague. You know, what if there was a plague at the same time that there was a labor union strike and there was many dead that could not be buried?
Well, then we would have, like in Last Man on Earth, huge bonfire. And I can cover that as well.
Or no, Soylent Green, they could use that solution as well.
Oh, we won't give away the plot on that, folks, but it's a very tasty film.
Right. So you've done all kinds of shows.
Yes.
And we're going to talk about some of those shows. But first, we've got to get back to this film.
Very good.
Right. All right. Let's get back to War of the Satellites, 1958. It gets better, right?
I enjoyed it.
All right. Off we go. War of the Satellites. Bye.
Now, I'd be a little less than frank with you if I didn't admit that whatever I might say is only an opinion.
Well, Doctor, why was this message in Latin?
Does it mean an end to Project Sigma?
The fact that the message was in Latin causes me to believe it's a hoax. There are those who would like to see our rocket program abandoned. However, as for Project Sigma, it most assuredly will proceed.
Then you'll ask for new volunteers.
You think you'll get a crew?
Well, there's an old saying. If you just want something, send someone for it. But if you really want it, go yourself.
Then you go up yourself?
Lockhart calls it a suicide mission.
I won't ask anyone to take a risk I wouldn't take myself. I mean to captain my own ship.
Captain your own ship? Isn't this very dangerous, sir?
And now, gentlemen and ladies, if you'll excuse me, I have an appointment with some components.
I'm going with him.
Well, I guess that makes me a volunteer also.
You really started something this time, Doctor. I think you're right.
Well, thank you. But I'm not at all certain I am right.
But if this thing is a hoax and you can prove it.
I didn't say I could prove it, Dave. I said there was evidence. Unfortunately, there's just as much evidence the other way.
Like what?
Well, ever since the capsule landed, we've been working on it. The metal container itself defies analysis. It's harder than anything we've yet been able to devise. And it has a fantastic thermal resistance.
Well, I didn't know that. I haven't seen all the reports yet.
Oh, yes. And consider the method of communication. Now, this is something. Telepathically geared to the human mind. One merely thinks the word message, and it appears. Stop thinking, and it goes blank again.
Curious about the Latin.
Well, why not Latin? Once it was understood throughout the civilized world. Perhaps they think it still is.
Well, the whole thing is still a little hard to swallow.
Well, Dave, not so many years back, space travel itself was a little hard to swallow.
I've calculated the figures for the Doppler effect at the speeds we'll be traveling.
I want the figures all the way up to the speed of light. We can't put the solar reactors through a full test here on Earth. But if they reach optimum efficiency in space, we'll be the first to achieve photon propulsion.
But, Van, that would mean... Dr. Van Ponder's office. Mr. Hotchkiss. He sounds worried.
Yes, Hodge.
It's Arcad and his crowd, Van. They're reviving the whole suicide issue in the council. They're beginning to play it pretty rough. You better get down here in a hurry.
I'll get there as fast as I can. I have to be at the United Nations. Extend this series and I'll check it tomorrow.
So, Mr. President, even at this late hour, and after millions have been poured down the drain in this insane project, it is not too late to reconsider. Something greater than money is at stake. the lives of the fine young people who have been deceived into believing they would travel into outer space.
Mr. President, I apologize to the honorable delegate for interrupting, but his speech is no longer necessary. Dr. Van Ponder, without whom Project Sigma cannot proceed. Dr. Van Ponder was killed in an automobile accident while on his way to this forum.
Mr. President, I extend my condolences to the delegate from the United States. But now there can be no further reason to delay passage of my motion to suspend payment of funds to Project Sigma immediately.
I hope I never live through another moment like that again, Van. Getting that message, the shock of seeing you in the doorway. Risen from the dead like that, it's almost a miracle.
As I explained, the officer was mistaken.
Well, miracle or no miracle, it certainly worked like a charm. It pulled the slats right out from under old Ockett. If I didn't know you better, I'd say you planned it yourself.
But if you'll excuse me, Hutch, I have some charts to prepare. I do hope you don't mind my using your office.
Not at all, not at all. Make yourself comfortable.
Portions of Creature Features are brought to you by the Winchester Mystery House in San Jose, California. Explore the mystery at winchestermysteryhouse.com.
Hello, Creature Feature friends! Tangela and I just wanted to remind you that... What's this then?
It's a light.
Well, I can see that. How does it warrant interrupting my announcement?
It's broken.
Pity. Well, replace it then, lad.
What's the plan? We need money.
Well, how much? That's a bloody king's ransom for a silly lamp. I can buy a goodly amount of Westinghouse stock for that much money. Here you go. There's not many of those happy little bundles left, but maybe you can help. Please consider becoming a patron for Creature Features. For just a few dollars a month, you can help cover these unexpected mishaps. And more importantly, with your generous support, we can do a myriad of other things to help keep you entertained every week, like get better movies, more guests, and we might even be able to make that Creature Features movie so many of you have asked us to do. And if you're willing to spend a little more, there's some additional benefits for you as well. So visit the link below and become a patron member of the Creature Features family today. I will thank you, Tangela will thank you, and Andrew will stop breaking our expensive lights. Oh, and did I mention we have some hospital bills to pay as well? Welcome back to the show. We shall get back to War of the Satellites soon, but by the mere fact that this gentleman is standing next to me with mail, and I no longer have a guest in my guest seat, tells me it's time for letters, right?
Yes.
Yes? We'll give you some mail, sir.
There's an email from Craig.
How are you?
I'm very well, thank you.
You're getting quite bushy.
Bushy.
Bushy. You look like a goat. A very handsome goat, I might add, but you look like a goat. See? Nose up.
As you wish.
Every compliment. You tell me he has nice shoes, and his nose will go up as well. See? Every time. Oh, this very nice letter from Craig. Where is he from? Who knows? All right. He goes, Dear Vincent, Tangela, and Mr. Livingston, I started writing this letter on my computer and was going to send it as an email, but then I thought a printed letter is so much more personal. So I printed it out, and then it occurred to me, hey, this is just the same as an email, except now I need an envelope and a stamp. So I decided to handwrite it. That would justify the envelope. Unfortunately, I have a pretty bad penmanship, so I thought it would be rude to send this to a person and expect them to be able to read it. So I typed it again on my computer. I know it's not as personal as a handwritten letter, but I couldn't figure out how to write a handwritten letter on my computer, so this is what you get. But I did add the scent of the cologne I wear to make this typed letter seem more personal. Thank you, Old Spice, for helping me adding some literary flair. Craig. Oh, he did. So, there's not much content here, Craig. I love it. Thank you for writing, and I hope you figure out that penmanship issue.
San Jose, California.
Do you know the way to San Jose?
I have GPS.
That's no fun. You just take 101 south. That's it. That's all you got to do. Get on 101 and go south. All right, this is from Robert Trompeter.
Trumpeter.
Trompeter?
Trumpeter.
No, because it's spelt with an O. Tromp. As in he tromps through the forest.
That's tramp.
No, tramp is something else. Tromp. To tromp along. It's a real word. Google it. You may make fun of my lack of scientific knowledge, but when it comes to the English lexicon, I run rings around you logically, German man. All right, Robert Trompter, and he goes, Dear Creature Features, love the program. We love you, Robert Trompter. Longtime viewer and horror movie buff forever, Bob Wilkins would be very proud of the work you all have provided in bringing the very best and the very least of the palatable horror movie genre to an audience. I would like to see the Spanish version of Dracula. Oh, I know what he's talking about. 1 week later, the exact same set. Tom was telling me about this. They shot 2 Draculas at the same time. The Spanish one, with different actors, same set, same script, everything. He's right, We're going to look for that. I live next door to the Winchester Mystery House in San Jose. Saturdays 9 to 11 are better because of Creature Features. Sincerely, Robert Trompeter. And, thank you. We're going to try to get that film for you, Robert. And do write to Livingston and send him the phonetic spelling of your name. I'd appreciate it.
San Francisco.
I left my heart in San Francisco. No, she left somebody's brain in San Francisco.
She still had it.
Is that candy? What is this? Is this, may I? Oh, it's sticky.
Yes.
Did you buy this for her?
I did not.
So you could throw this at the wall and it would stick.
It does. To the windows as well.
To the windows. All right. Now I know why all the windows in the manor are pink. All right. This is from Mr. Philip Canavari. Does that sound about right?
Sounds good.
Huh? See, I would trust you're Italian because Germany is so close to Italy, right? So I figured you two would know something. All right. So it looks like I've got a handwritten note which one of our wonderful staff have been kind enough to type up for me. I have trouble reading handwritten script these days.
Well, you're getting older.
No, it's got nothing to do with that. Look at the writing. It's difficult to read.
It's script.
No, it's got nothing to do with the script. He's got the lines running into each other.
Ah.
I mean, I can't tell where the I ends and the J. He's no fun. He used to be fun. Back in the 80s, when he had hair, he was a really fun guy. Now he's just a fun gee like a mushroom.
Oh, good one.
Anyways, greetings, Vincent, Livingston, and Tangella. I'll be brief. No wearing jockey. Oh, it's an underwear joke. I like those.
Evidently.
No, I like those. We would say it was a knicker joke in the UK. Knowing full well and being of sound mind and body, 77-year-old sound, I felt you might like the enclosed copy of an award I received, having requested it, in 1959 at the impressionable age of 15. Perhaps the motion picture referenced, The Fire Maidens of Outer Space, will find its way into your domain. And if the Ursula Andress movie Attack of the 50-Foot Woman makes an appearance on your wonderful show, I wouldn't object. Neither would I. But I don't think we can get that one. Is she
don't
still
believe
alive?
so. No,
When did Ursula Andress die?
I'm not sure.
Yeah. That's too bad. Because she could be a guest and we could watch the film. Now we can do neither. Please be safe and healthy despite the terrors. San Francisco fan who grew up in 1943, 1961 in Santa Rosa. He's an old Santa Rosa person. Used to play the accordion in the 30s at the Tides in Bodega Bay Saturday nights. My goodness, we know this place. The Tides used to have accordion playing.
Yes.
It's nice. All right, so we need to show a photo of this award. What's she doing over there?
Picking brains.
All right, so here's the Attack of the 50-Foot Woman poster. You've probably all seen this before, but the piece de resistance is from KTVU in Oakland, and this says, although I've probably got a big one next to my head right here, know it by all men present to the best of our knowledge, Phil Canavari did thoroughly enjoy seeing on television the worst motion picture ever shown in Northern California, The Fire Maidens of Outer Space. We have to get this film now. If it's certified the worst. Telecast August 12th, 1959 on KTVU's Early Late Show. How wonderful. Well, thank you for sending that, sir. And we'll try to create an award similar, right? We should do one. We do the worst movie ever shown, and then we send people prizes for watching it.
Well, we can ask the fans to vote.
Fans, yes. No, our friends at home.
Our friends at home.
Our friends at home. All right, that's it?
That's it.
That is it for letters. If you'd like to send us a letter of your own by email, send it to the address appearing under my shoe. Or if you'd like to send something in the post, like a package or like a small brain, send it to the address you see right here. We'll be right back with Mr. Undertaker, but first let's get back to War of the Satellites. I've already got a brain.
Would be a very serious matter at home and abroad. There was consternation in the United Nations Assembly when Dr. Van Ponder appeared dramatically after his death had been announced to the Assembly. Upon his appearance, the delegates cheered Dr. Van Ponder to the rafters, then proceeded to vote unlimited funds for Project Sigma.
They proceed with their plans. Our warning did not deter them. I propose a stronger warning. Come in.
Excuse me, Van. I thought I heard you talking to somebody.
No, Dave. Quite alone.
I was wondering if I could ask you a question. Personal.
Certainly. Sit down.
Thank you.
What's on your mind?
It's about Sybil.
Miss Carrington?
She volunteered for this job, Van, because she has great admiration for you. And the faith that you'll probably succeed where the others have failed. But you and I know what our chances of returning are.
Do you agree with our Cobb? That it's a suicide mission?
I didn't say that. If I did, I wouldn't be here. But I know the dangers involved, and I think you should order Sybil to stay behind.
Miss Carrington is a very intelligent young woman, quite capable of reaching her own decisions.
Doctor, turn on the radio quickly.
Fires, floods, earthquakes, and volcanic eruptions in unheard of numbers bursting out all over the world. Foreign Minister Slurdoff first accused the United States of triggering the fires that broke out in his country by nuclear means, until convinced that similar holocausts were occurring without visible cause through this and other nations as well. There have been suggestions that these disasters are a follow-up of the warning purporting to come from outer space, from hostile beings on a distant nebula who demanded that humans desist from attempts at space travel. The strange message was dismissed as a hoax by the United Nations Security Council at the time, but many responsible persons believe that it should have been taken seriously. But just a moment, ladies and gentlemen. A bulletin has been handed me. Reports are coming in thick and fast of wheat and cornfields destroyed, ships sunk, all occurring at the same instant. This is a bulletin. There can be no question of coincidence here. These terrible events are purposeful and directed.
Hello? Yes, Hodge. Yes, we've been listening. Well, what can we do? We've got to quit. I know it's disappointing. How do you think I feel? Yes, I know. But we can't fight this. Yes. Dave Boyer is here with me now. I'll send him over with a statement you can read on the floor. Goodbye.
Man, you're not giving up.
We're up against a race of beings whose intelligence is as ours to ants and bacteria. We have the choice of continuing to exist under whatever conditions they may name, or of being exterminated. It's that simple. Sybil, I want you to type this up immediately.
Intolerable.
Well, I guess that puts the wraps on Sigma.
And to think that Van should have to plunge the knife. Now, let Stevens give the report. I haven't got the heart for it. I'm sick.
The honorable delegates will recall how my colleagues and I warned of the dire consequences if we ignored this ultimatum. We are obviously in the grip of a force stronger than we can oppose. I notice that the delegate from the United States has chosen not to be present. Well, Mr. United States delegate, don't you agree that we must immediately give up this insane project as a matter of pure, naked survival?
The delegate from the United States sends his apologies for his unfortunate absence from this important meeting. But he sent me here with a message that expresses not only his views, but the views of Dr. Van Ponda, head of Project Sigma. The delegate has spoken of naked survival. Gentlemen, you do not survive by abject surrender. Nations and worlds must fight for survival. If we give in now, let down our defenses, give this alien planet full control over our actions and our lives for mere survival, won't they decide to take even that away from us? Now, the gentlemen here ask themselves why these aliens are so concerned that we do not penetrate the Sigma barrier. Isn't it peculiar that this action alone excites them to retaliation? They consider us a danger to them if we break out of quarantine, as they so tactfully put it. They haven't even bothered to find out whether our motives are peaceful or not. They don't know that we would collaborate and share knowledge, greet them as equal partners in the universe. But we can't show them this by surrendering. No, it is precisely because they do not wish us to travel the skies that we must do so. Gentlemen, we must proceed with Project Sigma at all costs.
Like certain defeat for Project Sigma was turned into a brilliant vindication by the impassioned address of an emissary representing both Delegate Hotchkiss and Dr. Van Ponder.
Radiation density at 1,500 miles, 10 to the minus 27. 2,000 miles, 10 to the minus 30. 2,500 miles.
Doctor. How did you get here?
Yeah, we've been sweating it out here for the past 3 hours.
Well, that's funny, because I could have sworn I just saw you over the proving ground.
I guess the pace is getting too much for you, Johnny. The eyes go first. Van here will probably be next. He's been working like twins.
Triplets is more like it. Oh, I just came to tell Dave that the new solenoids have arrived. We're testing them now.
Okay, Johnny, I'll check them later. You know, Van, I would have sworn you'd take my head off for that stunt I pulled at the Security Council.
On the contrary, Dave, I should thank you. I don't know what got into me to give way as I did. I'm in your debt for saving Project Sigma.
Do you still have that growth on your arm? You know, you ought to take care of that van. Those things can be dangerous.
Dr. Van Ponder, you are wanted in reactor construction area. Urgent.
I better get over there. Dave, I'd like you to... What's the matter?
Nothing, Van.
Well, you can handle the rest of these reports, can't you?
Sure. I'll see you later.
All right.
This portion of Creature Features is brought to you by CreatureFeatureStore.com, the official merchandiser of Creature Feature accessories.
Welcome back to Creature Features. We're watching War of the Satellites with The Undertaker. You know, real quick before we talk about this mini-me of yours, this film is all now floods, fires, and earthquakes. You know, do you suppose it might have been filmed in California?
Oh, most definitely. Most definitely.
This is something we experience every year. You know, when they told me, you know, you come here, there might be like an earthquake, I was like, okay, that's fine. But it's now like fires and floods all the time.
With all the shaking, you don't have to go to an amusement park.
It's shake and bake.
That's right.
You know, it's that
all
chicken
over.
product that people like to consume. Yeah. So, anyways, we'll get back to the film in a moment. But tell me about this.
Well, this is my mini-me. I've had a lot of time on my hands between burials, and I created my own action figure. I think that every horror host should have his own action figure. This is my alter ego, so to speak. You would not be afraid of me.
So the coffin. Where do you find a coffin of that size?
I found it at CTVT, which is Classic TV Toys.
And it was just like an empty coffin that you could purchase?
Correct.
Now, that would be like a great little jewelry box to have.
Correct,
you know?
yes.
I could get Tangelo one for Christmas.
They actually turn up at shows, and that's where they get them.
Do they make like a large one? Like
she
has a lot of jewelry. I would need one that was like 6 feet long.
I'd hate to say this, but you probably should get a child's coffin.
Oh, a child's coffin. They make such a thing.
Oh, yes.
No, I suppose children have to die sometimes, right?
Occasionally, unfortunately.
That's no fun. No, I think I'd need a bigger one for all her jewelry, like 6 feet. So.
Would that do it?
Make one. I think a 6 foot would do it. You have a spare?
Oh, yes.
Okay.
Always have a spare.
Now, the difference between this design and the square ones, what's this one called? What's
this
the
is
other
a
one called?
coffin. A casket would be the ones we're used to seeing at funeral homes.
So a coffin is the one that tapers.
That's correct.
Around one's head.
Correct.
And it has the split lid? Or no, they all have a split lid, right?
The old-fashioned ones don't. And this, if this was a real one, it would be screw on.
Right.
So the person couldn't get out.
Right. No. So having the Undertaker actually inside of a coffin does not seem to be the proper message. Shouldn't the doll be outside of the coffin, and shouldn't there be like another corpse inside the coffin if it's actually an Undertaker?
Well, I am working on another figure, another horror host who will be residing in the coffin. But at the moment, that's all I have, and I thought it looked rather
So
dramatic.
right now, you're not the Undertaker in this scenario.
Oh, certainly.
You are the Undertaken. Correct?
That's a good way to put it.
Yeah, the Undertaken. And that should be like your cohort, right? The Undertaken and the Undertaker.
I like that.
It'd be confusing, though, you know, if you sign autographs. There'd just be like 1 or 2 letter difference in the name.
That would be easy on me.
I'm getting silly on you, sir. And I'm getting the signal we need to get back to this film, or else it's going to start on top of us. So you stay with us. You guys stay with us. And you know me, I'm stuck here.
You wanted to see me, John?
Yes, Doctor. It's these new solenoids. They're not testing up to capacity resistance.
Oh? How do they test?
Well, 68 ohms maximum. Should be at least 75. See, I thought if I added this extra
I
coil...
don't think it matters very much. Every element of the reactor is geared to a 6-to-1 safety factor.
Look out. Good Lord, I'll get a doctor.
No! John!
Dr. Lazar, emergency in reactor area. Come at once.
Let me look at that hand, Van. What kind of a joke is this?
Would you mind explaining what this is all about?
Well, sure. John came rushing in, said you'd burned your hand. Burned it off, he said.
With the torch, I saw it.
Quite obviously, he's mistaken.
Yes, I should think he is.
We were examining these solenoids. Suddenly he screamed and ran from the room.
I see. Well, he's been under a lot of pressure. I'm surprised there hasn't been more of this sort of thing as we approach blastoff.
What are you talking about?
Buck fever, my boy. I'm afraid you're grounded.
But you can't negate what I saw.
Come on now. I'm sure Dr. Van Ponder...
But I
has worked.
saw it with my own eyes in the flame of that torch. And he didn't even feel it.
John!
There's something about you. You're not human.
John, stop it!
All right, I'll go. But I know what I saw.
Perhaps you see too much, John.
Come on, John.
Hello?
Hello, Sybil. This is Dave. Look, I know it's a little late, but this is kind of important.
Dave, where have you been? They've been trying to locate you everywhere. We blast off at 23:30.
23:30?
Van, advance the time. You've just got 45 minutes. You better step on it.
Look, Sybil, meet me at the launching site. I've got to speak to you.
Dave, stop wasting time. Hurry!
Rocket 1, final crew call.
Sybil! Sybil, I've got to talk to you. It's important.
Rocket 1, minus signal.
We don't have much time, Dave.
I've got plenty of time. They're just calling for Rocket 1.
I'm going on Rocket 1.
You were scheduled for Rocket 2 with me.
Well, Van made the switch.
Van made the switch. Sybil, you can't go with him.
He must have had a reason.
Rocket 1, minus 5 minutes.
Corrections on the calculation.
Okay.
Checking in, sir.
All right, Bennett.
Ready, Van?
I thought you grounded him.
Oh, no, he's perfectly okay. I checked him out thoroughly. Even gave up your hallucination, didn't you, John?
Yes, sir. I'm sorry I caused trouble, sir.
You see, just as good as new. And astronautical engineers don't grow on trees, do they?
No. No, they don't. But I'll see you on board.
Yes, sir.
See you, man.
Rocket 1, minus 4 minutes.
Dr. Van Ponder wanted in general control.
Dr. Van Ponder, you're wanted on board Rocket 1 immediately.
Minus 3 minutes. Crew stations, all Rocket 1 personnel. Minus 2 minutes. All unauthorized personnel, clear launching area.
Hello, my name is Carol Wade, and I'm from Columbus, Indiana. And I just discovered your show today when I was flipping through to watch Crowhaven Farm, which someone recommended to me. I just wanted to let you know I enjoy it, and thank you so much. Love you.
This is Livingston, and you're watching Creature Features. Not now. Stay tuned.
So this film, War of the Satellites, did you know that it was 8 weeks from concept to theater?
That sounds like a Corman film.
Well, you know, I could not even write one song in that amount of time and record it and present it to radio station. And how did he do it?
It's called small budget.
Right.
Get it in the theater, make that money.
No, but I think it's impossible. I think he had some magical type things. Anyways, you brought some albums.
Yes.
And this one looks familiar to me. Famous Monsters Speak. Is this related to Famous Monsters magazine?
Yes, it is. It's a tie-in. They used to sell it in the magazine.
Oh.
It's allegedly a children's album, but if you ever hear it, it is quite violent.
It features the voice of Gabrielle Dell.
Yes, it does.
Who in God's name is that? I don't know who it is either. So what's on this? Just like songs?
No, there's stories.
Stories.
About the Frankenstein monster and Dracula.
Yeah. It's got that old record smell.
It does indeed.
No, it's wonderful. All right, and the second one, Spike Jones in Hi-Fi.
That's Spike Jones in the 60s, 1963, I believe.
My goodness, how old was he back then?
Let's see. In his heyday, he was in his late 20s, so he's probably in his 40s.
1959.
Oh, that's 59.
This
oh,
says
my.
1959, Warner Brothers.
That's a little early for a horror album, folks.
No, that's amazing. Spike Jones in Hi-Fi. Notice it doesn't say stereo, it just says Hi-Fi. What's the difference?
That's fake stereo.
Oh, is that what Hi-Fi is?
Yes.
Oh, how did they do it? It's like single speaker?
Yes, and they... that's a little hard to describe, but it's the way they channel it makes it sound like stereo, but it isn't.
Oh, so let's look at the track listings. I Only Have Eyes for You, vocals by Dracula and Vampira. Is the actual Vampira?
Yes.
Oh. And then what else? Poison to Poison, Interview with a Famous Poisonality. They did a bit of humor there. Teenage Brain Surgeon. Everything Happens to Me, Monster Movie Ball, and side 2, Tammy. They did the theme to Tammy?
Yes, that was a popular movie at the time.
My goodness. Oh, there's...
there she is, yes.
Yes, Vampira.
It's a good one. It's a little hard to find these days.
And this is something you listen to every day?
I listen to horror movies, albums, soundtracks, and albums like this every single day.
I suppose you'd have to. Do you have like an 8-track player in your house?
I do indeed.
Nice.
And I have a month 6-track and 4-track player as well.
He's
Patty Hearst, by the way.
He's a hi-fi underground guy.
That's correct.
Right, that's awesome. Well, speaking of hi-fi and underground, let's get back to War of the Satellites because we have to finish this movie at some point, right?
We do.
All right, off we go. War of the Satellites. Don't go away.
We're about to blast off. All instruments checked out?
Everything all right?
Good. I'm depending on you.
Yes, sir.
Have a good trip, John.
Yes, sir.
Nine, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3.
I didn't get a round-trip ticket.
2, 1, fire! Rocket 2, minus 10 minutes. Minus 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Rocket 1, second stage. Fire. Rocket 2, second stage. Fire. Rocket 3, second stage. Fire. Rocket 1, third stage. Fire. Rocket 1 approaching rendezvous point. Rocket 2 converging. Rocket 3 converging. Fire. Contact completed. Ship in orbit. Ground control handing over. Good luck.
Thank you. Satellite control taking over. Up antenna.
Antenna up.
Activate gravity control.
Gravity control on.
Feedback interlock on automatic.
Feedback interlock on automatic.
Orient solar aspect cells.
Solar aspect cells on.
Automate robot control.
Robot control on.
Sybil, check the computer panel. I'm glad to see Lazar was right about your surviving the blast off.
Look here, Doctor. I can't move.
I've partially inactivated your muscular system.
What?
There's no time to be more explicit. I have no desire to harm you. However, necessity governs action. The warning from outer space was valid. It came from a superior intelligence. An intelligence able to transform energy into matter and back again. You once told me I was not human. You were correct. I am above the human. A transformation which can be yours. This satellite will never return to Earth. Its disintegration upon contact with the energy barrier will end Project Sigma and all similar projects to come. The creatures of your planet are not yet ready for space.
Who are you to decide?
We have only your best interests at heart. In this realm of outer space, you are mere children. And it is disastrous for children to enter areas where they have so little understanding. John, I can offer you the opportunity of joining us.
You can go to hell. I was born a human and I'll die one before I'll join a race that kills innocent people for abstract ideas.
Abstract idea. Very well. You've made your decision. One I'm certain you'll deeply regret. For only death remains. withstand the acceleration. I knew you should have stayed behind.
Guests of the show stay at Hotel E on Courthouse Square in Santa Rosa. Portions of this program are brought to you by Micromat, making products that keep your Macintosh running at its best.
Tangella, you see my orange-handed file anywhere? What I did with it?
Orbiting on schedule, sir. Fine. This is the captain speaking. We have successfully completed the first phase of our mission, and I wish to congratulate all members of the crew. I can now reveal to you the plan by which we hope to overcome the cosmic accumulations which have destroyed all of our previous manned satellites. The plan consists of 2 steps. Step 1 has already been accomplished. This called for a blast velocity of over 1,000 times that of our previous satellites, a force which has carried us into an orbit far beyond the moon. At our present velocity, this cosmic mass, if encountered, will act as a solid, impenetrable wall. However, at the first indication of this mass, or sigma barrier as we call it, we will put into operation the second step of our plan, which varies according to necessity. If at this time we have accumulated enough solar energy for 750 miles per second, we shall be able to blast through the barrier and in so doing destroy it. Should the barrier appear before we have reached the requisite velocity, we shall take immediate action to avoid it.
Dave, what are you doing here? You should be in operations.
I regret to inform you there has been one casualty. Astronautical engineer John Compo was found dead, apparently the result of blast-off acceleration. All hands not on duty will attend the space funeral at 1400 hours.
Sybil, I've got to talk to you. It's about Van. He's not human.
Dave, don't be ridiculous.
I saw him. He's split in 2. He's been seen in 2 places at the same time.
Why aren't you at your post?
What happened to Johnny? Did you kill him?
We're now in outer space with 1 man dead. And I can't afford to lose another by confining you to quarters. So I'm giving you another chance. We'll say no more about your accusation. But I warn you, get out of line just once more, and I shall take the necessary measures. I remind you that I am the captain of this ship, and that astroplanetary law gives me supreme and unquestioned command. Do I make myself clear?
Yes.
Van, please forgive him. We've all been under a great strain.
There is no room for personal feelings on this mission. For his sake, he'd better straighten himself out. This is a sad duty we must perform. To say goodbye to a brave and beloved fellow crewman. We must think of him as one who gave his life in a noble endeavor. The salvation of the human race.
Well, I feel it's all my fault. I should never have checked the kid out.
But you said there was nothing physically wrong with him.
Well, that's the curious thing. I was extra cautious. I double-checked every test. There's just no reason why he should have died from the same acceleration we all took. His training record was better than most.
He was murdered.
Murdered?
Look, Johnny knew something dangerous, something he shouldn't have known, and he was killed for it.
And so we commend his body to the depths of space.
Haven't you noticed Van's face? There's something different about it. I can show you what I mean.
Well, that means nothing, Dave. Everybody's face is slightly asymmetrical.
Yes, but not Van's. I've been watching it. Here's something else. You got a magnifying glass?
Yes.
Sybil, I'm glad you're here. I'd like you to see this, too.
Dave, you're disobeying orders.
Orders? From Van? Don't you realize he's trying to destroy us all? These are Van's prints. They're identical.
Mirror images.
What does that mean?
What I've been trying to tell you. This is not Van.
Dave!
It's true. I saw Van's car. It was burnt to a crisp. All but the license plates. I checked those out. Van died in that car. This man's a substitute, a copy of the real Van.
You don't expect me to believe that fantastic nonsense.
Is it fantastic that there's an intelligent race out there that stops at nothing to keep us quarantined on our own planet? Is the Sigma barrier fantastic? They've destroyed every ship we sent up, and now through him they mean to destroy this one. Could those prints lie?
You know, ever since his accident, Van has always found some excuse to keep me from giving him a routine checkup. I haven't even checked his heart.
It's quite possible he doesn't have one.
Well, I'll find out, and we'll know for sure.
Oh, hello, Howard.
Hi, Van.
What can I do for you?
Well, it's time for a checkup. I have to check your heart. It has to go on the report.
I'm in perfect health, and you know it.
Yes, but I'm not so sure the board will take my word for it. You fellows read the instruments. It's up to me to read the human being.
Captain, wanted in control room. Urgent.
I guess we'll have to put it off, hmm?
No. I'll wait.
All right, Howard. I'll be back as soon as I can.
Some action ahead, Skipper. The dials are acting up.
Well, it's still pretty faint. Could be cosmic dust. Keep your eye on it. If it continues to build, call me.
Yes, sir. And what do you make of that?
Cosmic dust.
This is Livingston, and you're watching Creature Features. Not now. Stay tuned. Hello, this is Mr. Livingston. It would appear I have been tasked with requesting you to help our show financially by visiting our Patreon page. Your generosity will help us keep Creature Features on the air. With only a few dollars a month from you, your kindness will allow us to continue creating new entertainment for your viewing pleasure each and every week. And if you have the desire to give more, you might even receive a gift from Tangela. I think not. Please visit the website below to learn more. Thank you.
So, Mr. Undertaker, who does your hair?
Supercuts, of course.
I'll have to try that. Welcome back to the show. We are watching War of the Satellites, and you were telling me during the break something about these satellites, which are actually spaceships.
Well, I found the model design very impressive, and I think Irwin Allen did too, because he used it in several of his productions.
From this film?
Yes, indeed. Lost in Space was one, and The Time Tunnel was another.
The time, I didn't know there was any spaceships on the Time Tunnel.
Well, they go into the future, at least one segment, and of course in the past quite a bit.
Well, I've only seen like 2 episodes of the Time Tunnel, and both of them were like in medieval days.
Right.
So I saw no spaceships on there, though they did have a wonderful catapult.
Yes, they used a lot of stock footage from 1940s and 1950s films.
And sets as well.
Exactly.
I think the way it worked with Irwin Allen is if it was like if they were shooting like a medieval film, he'd like write a script that had medieval.
And I think Mr. Roger Corman followed that same example.
Right. Yeah, maybe that's where Irwin Allen learned it from, was from Roger Corman.
I would say that's probably true.
Right.
Birds of a feather.
All right, birds of a feather. Let's talk about Halloween of a feather and what you've been doing for years.
Well, I have been a tour guide in cemeteries, at night, of course. I've given tours of haunted houses.
Right.
I've promoted and created haunted houses. And I have also hosted live events at theaters, movies and such.
So what would happen at a theater?
So I would greet everybody, say, for example, you have my condolences when they walk in the door,
right,
because they came to see my film.
Oh.
I would have a trivia section, not unlike you do on your show.
Right.
And I would give an intro and an outro to the movies, not unlike your show.
Nice. So what kind of film would be shown on one of these?
Examples of movies we have shown. One of my favorite Boris Karloff movies, Black Sunday was one we showed.
I've gotten so many requests for this film. What makes it so special?
It's Italian. I think it's an Argento movie, and it's quite scary. It holds up after all these years.
We have to show
The
it.
Tingler was another movie I've hosted. Return of the creature from the Black Lagoon.
Right.
Yes.
Right. Wow.
All the ones I like.
Those are all good. Well, of course, because you get to choose the film, right?
That's correct.
Right. So you're kind of like an Undertaker / horror host.
That is correct.
Right. Interesting.
Double
But
duty.
you do it live.
I
you
do
don't
it live.
do it like this.
That's correct. I do it live, and you do quite a few live events yourself.
Well, not like that. It's like we go and we make faces at
Right.
conventions and sign
Do you have any desire to perhaps host a live event?
No, I do this show. I think it's enough, right? No, I've done enough performing live.
Yes.
Playing guitar and things
course.
like that. But no, I audience tend to throw tomatoes at me.
Well, as long as they're not too ripe, you can save them.
And I think in this case, they would throw it at me because of the film, not necessarily because of my hosting capability.
I would have to agree with that.
I could be wrong. Anyways, let's get back to this film. We have to wrap it up, and then we're going to find out what you're doing next, right?
Very good, yes.
All right, off we go to the ending, or close to the end, of The Undertaker. We shall see you on the other side of the credits. Stay with us.
Captain.
Captain, do you have to be so formal?
I'm sorry.
Well, I'm a little hurt. I thought we knew each other better. Better than that, anyway. I've been wanting to talk to you about us.
Of course, Captain.
Van.
I'm in the middle of a computation.
Half an hour, then. All right, Doctor. You wanted to listen to my heart? Proceed. I have work to do. You know, I might almost believe you thought I didn't have a heart.
Everybody has a heart.
Dave Boyer put you up to this, I suppose.
Put me up to what?
Quite typical of the childish mind. I'm sorry, Howard, but I have no more time to waste.
What do you mean?
You're a man of science. What would you do if a guinea pig got out of control and threatened to ruin one of your experiments?
I don't understand.
John didn't understand either.
What is this?
I'm issuing an order for the arrest of one of the crew.
Sir?
I've discovered that John Campo did not die of natural causes. He was murdered. I want Staff Engineer Dave Boyer brought to my quarters immediately. You may use force if necessary.
Yes, sir.
Sybil?
Dave, I just saw Van. He seems so strange. I don't know what to think anymore. Maybe you're right.
I know I'm right. I've got to stop him somehow.
Dave, please.
Look, I'm going after Van. You go to Dr. Lazar and stay with him. I don't want you here alone.
You're under arrest by order of the captain.
What for?
No questions. Let's go.
Get to Dr. Lazar. Tell him what happened.
Gauges are going higher.
Check the visit screen.
You better call Van Ponder.
What for? He already told you it was cosmic dust.
Sure, cosmic dust.
Sybil, I just want to talk to you. I just want to talk to you. Sybil. I had no choice. I couldn't permit him to endanger the ship. Please listen to me.
Yes?
I'm human now, Sybil. I need you.
Captain, the prisoner has escaped.
Don't you see, Alert all hands.
The satellite is in Sector H9, and in Sector H12 is the barrier.
They're heading for it.
And let us say, rather, the barrier is forming where the satellite is bound to travel.
Well, Van knows what he's doing. He'll avoid it.
Well, let us hope so.
Hairstyling for the show was provided by Restoration Hair in Santa Rosa. This portion of Creature Features is brought to you by CreatureFeatureStore.com, the official merchandiser of Creature Feature accessories. Guests of the show stay at Hotel E on Courthouse Square in Santa Rosa.
Seize the prisoner at all costs. I'm sorry, but there's no alternative.
Astrogator to captain. Astrogator to captain.
Why do you... Captain speaking.
Magneto-nebulous cloud mass forming dead ahead. Alpha concentration is building to critical point. Suspect Sigma barrier.
Yes. Sybil,
Captain, Sigma barrier dead ahead. We're bearing down rapidly. Awaiting orders. Repeat, awaiting orders.
Remain on course.
Remain on course?
What's the matter with old Iron Pants?
I don't know, but if you don't get on the ball, this $3 billion balloon's gonna go bust.
Not only that, we're in it.
Request further orders.
Remain on course. Sybil, I want you to understand.
You're not human. Who are you? What are you?
What am I? Why, I'm human. Because of you, I'm human.
Captain to Astrogator. Give readings on approaching mass.
It's about time.
Alpha 102. Beta 147. Gamma 208. Thermo 477. Radiation. 862. Massing Quadrant 3, Sector 9. Estimate collision course. Collision time estimate, 5 minutes.
Activate Plan B.
Plan B?
Reverse that order. You'll destroy the ship. Don't be a fool. You can't hurt me with that.
For the love of Pete, you're running us right into that thing.
You got a better idea?
You can be stopped.
Thermal up, radiation up, alpha, beta, and gamma going up. Sky speed, we're decelerating.
Just following orders. Ours is but to do and die.
Die, you've said it.
Crash emergency, dead ahead. Sigma barrier dead ahead. Crash emergency.
Reverse previous order. Ditch Plan B. Activate Plan A.
Activating Plan A.
Secure all hands and prepare to blast.
Oh, that's more like it.
Hang on, boy. We ain't out of the woods yet.
Start burning that sunlight. All hands secure for blast. All hands secure. Blast in 120 seconds.
Why don't they blast?
Slow. 90 seconds.
Blast in 10 seconds. 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Blast!
Destroyed. I'm not so sure, Hotchkiss. We can still hear the solar blast. Look!
They made it.
Sigma calling. Sigma calling. UN satellite control. Do you read me? Do you read me?
UNSC calling Sigma. We read you, Sigma. We read you.
We are passing through Andromeda at the speed of light. We've made it. The whole universe is our new frontier.
The Earthlings win, and the entire universe is theirs. What do you think of this film? You liked it? Yeah, typically she does not like science fiction films. Well, there's not enough blood and death.
That's true.
No, but no, I guess she liked this one. So, yeah, maybe we'll watch it again. If she likes it, then somebody else out there likes it. Maybe one or two of you out there like this film. Anyways, so much for War of the Satellites, 1958. So, yeah, you like the film?
I enjoyed it quite a bit. It had a famous director in it, I noticed.
Roger Corman. We've mentioned him more than
Yes.
once. Yes, Roger Corman. He's done so many films.
He has.
He's like the Walmart of horror films.
Unfortunately, we can't find his movies at Walmart, but I agree.
Eek a stick. No. I think if you look, you can find in the bargain bin.
Dig Enough, yes.
Dig The Undertaker in the bargain bin. Right. That's it. So, what do you got going on next, Mr. Undertaker?
Oh, it's approaching October, and I think we have some live events in the offing.
Well, we've got a few months to go. But
yes, to plan.
Right.
To prepare.
No, I imagine it takes quite a bit of time to put together one of these things.
I'm a perfectionist as far
you
as that
have to
goes.
get, like, actual dead bodies.
Oh, they're easy to find, though.
And actual vampires.
They're a little harder to find.
Right. Because they have to rehearse, and you want to rehearse during the day, and, of course, they have issues
That's
with
one
this.
of the reasons I have my hearse.
It could be a thing. So hopefully you'll have something announced soon.
Yes.
And we would find out about that where?
That would be on digtheundertaker.com.
digtheundertaker.com. I like that URL. That's nice. It's clever. He's quite a clever guy. Well, thank you so much for coming and watching this film with us, Sir Undertaker. And we will see you next, if not at one of your events, we're going to see you next year so you can tell us about the next one, right?
Wonderful. Yes, I will be here.
All right. As far as you guys go, thank you so much for watching the show with us. Tangela was quite pleased that you attended tonight because, we were afraid nobody was going to come tonight. And here you are watching our show. And we want you back next week. You know why? Because we love you. All right? Okay. Bye. So, Mr. Undertaker, I had a thought. You do these graveyard tours, and she kind of has a graveyard thing going on. What if next time you did a tour, you brought Tangela along?
That would be too scary for me.